Your Excellency, Madame la Secrétaire Générale, Honorable Chairman, dear timekeeper, yet to be perceived members of the opposition, positive members of the proposition, ladies and gentlemen. If I say Walt Disney, I'm sure you all jump to the conclusion I'm going to talk about fairy tales and happy endings. Maybe Cinderella, maybe Pinocchio, maybe Snow White. Well, be disabused, since I'm going to evoke the hardships Walt Disney had to overcome in order to prove his talent. He was fired from his job, his first company went broke, and only once he moved to Hollywood, of course, his talent was recognized. His name became the one of an empire, famous film studios, theme parks, and even soft toys, before implicitly landing in this very room. Oh, Tinkerbell, all is well that ends well. Does that ring a bell? Walt Disney's long road to recognition shows precisely my point. Difficulties and failures are accepted if and only if the end is over and worthwhile. As a community, as a society, we accept failures and difficulty because in the end, once it is over, it was worth it. This process is necessary to maintain society's cohesion, and this is also the subject of the sociological study I'm going to explain. This is the science behind the magic. Now, before going any further into this, very magical social question, I would like to give some very fairy-like advice to the opposition. Now, you keep rebutting a motion that we have not proposed, and moreover, you keep talking about very trivial things such as socks and eyes. We are not saying that everything is going to be okay. We are saying that what is okay depends on our personal subjectivity and perception. And things do not appear well. It depends if you decide to perceive them as well. You also suggested that we didn't care about hardships. We actually accept hardships. It is all about not forgetting them, but accepting them in order to move forward. Yes, please.
Could you explain how you would tell Cosette after the French Revolution to perceive things well?
As I said, perception is and as my colleague John said, perception is an individual phenomenon. And I'm going to show you how maybe in French Revolution, French Revolution and even in society, that phenomenon appears. Let's go back to my little sociological study. I have come across a phenomenon called integration. Integration is the individual phenomenon, the silver lining theory my colleague John has so precisely explained, transposed into society. In other words...
On that point?
Yes, please.
You talk about perception. I'm wondering how a government can perceive objectivity with all this subjectivity that you're talking about.
That is very simple. It's because we all agree on the definition of the motion. In other words, society accepts past events and focuses on the happy endings in order to maintain its social cohesion. Soccer lovers, soccer haters, I just couldn't resist talking about this example, and I'm quite sure you've all heard of it and maybe even lived it. The 1998 Soccer World Cup. You all know the team who won this tournament, the Black Blanc Beurre match. Players were Thuram, Barthez, and Zidane. And yes, you can remember Zizou for something else than his head poke in Materazzi. The three men came to symbolize an unexpected yet so strong unity that they became a real symbol. Despite the much criticized soccer season they had gone through, and despite the social and cultural differences they had, they won. Their unity was celebrated all summer, even though I don't remember, and even the Figaro admitted that it changed for the best the face of minority representation in the media. No, thank you. This is precisely what integration is, getting on with past events, such as a bad soccer season, and rejoicing the outcome of a series of hard effort and sacrifices. This is the science behind the magic. This particular integration phenomenon also occurs in other layers of society. Take an artist. He may start drawing in a very bad manner, like spilling coffee over his paper. But in the end, his drawing might end up to be beautiful, and the coffee stain would become a part of the picture. For this artist, what would be the use to keep rejecting a positive ending because of its precedents? Better to get over it and accept the worthwhile mistakes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you're all going to guess what I'm going to talk about. Without it, Paris just wouldn't be Paris. Without it, Parisians wouldn't feel like Parisians. And without it, so many romantic dates would not have taken place. I'm still waiting for mine, by the way. The Eiffel Tower was perceived at its beginning as a disaster, a mistake, a horrible, gigantic piece of iron nobody wanted to look at. But now it's the symbol of Paris. Society has accepted it, and it has become the incarnation of the very French style, the real bijou of the capital. As Helena in Shakespeare's play, we can overcome as a society events that are difficult because they make us stronger and they help us keep together. Of course, we can look beyond Helena's issue with marriage and romance, sports, education, environment, drinking red wine with grilled salmon, or green beer with corned beef and cabbage. Yes, super-héros, I remembered you love St. Patrick's Day. All these facts are challenges to society, but once faced and positively overcome, they reinforce social cohesion. Ladies and gentlemen, for the sake of a happy society and for the sake of my romantic date, I urge you to support this motion. Thank you.